Well, we learned on Friday American consumers increased their spending by a record 8.2% in May. It actually fell short, though, of loftier expectations. Meanwhile, the state of the consumer and the consumer spending continues to change. We want more than just, of course, an easy-to-use website. We also want to be able to dash over and pick up the stuff we just bought. Cheryl Casoni joins me more with more. Cheryl.
Yeah, Charles. It's funny because, life is so different right now, right? Especially when it comes to how the U.S. consumer consumes. Since we are a consumption-driven economy, it's important to look at how things are going to be different, maybe permanently, for the nation's retailers. So during the first weeks of the pandemic, grocery stores, drugstores, warehouse stores, they remained open. But as the country began to reopen, there's some patterns that we're seeing with people. So when we got personal spending data for the month of May, we saw a month-over-month increase of 8.2%. But that was a stark contrast to the month prior when we saw a contraction of 12.6%. That was for April. That was the biggest drop on record due to the pandemic. We also learned that Americans, households, are saving less, now at a rate of 23.2% versus 32.2% in April. So we spent more in May, we saved less, which makes sense. But the latter number is important because while most retail stores were not open in April, when they did begin to open in May, people opened up their wallets. And this reminds us of the good old days, like January 2020. Remember that? Well, retail stores and their stocks and how they behave over the next few months, maybe years, is a big topic of debate. That's for the analysts to decide. But right now, several stores are offering curbside pickup for household essentials, for groceries, pet supplies. And a lot of these companies, to your point, Charles, our business is booming. Bed Bath & Beyond, Best Buy, Kmart, Kohl's, Macy's, Nordstrom's, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, just a few of those names. Guitar Center is even doing pickup and delivery, and business is good. And I'll leave you with this, Charles. Yesterday, for the first time in months, I went to a boutique in New York City, and I walked in, and I shopped, and I bought something, more than I probably needed, but wow, it felt great.
Oh, and you remember my size?
Oh, yeah. Betcha.
Okay, I'll be looking in the mailbox in the next couple of days. Thanks, Cheryl. All right, folks. Let's bring in a retail expert to help us to hash all this out. Erin Sykes, one of the best in the business, and we want to talk about the state of the consumer. Erin, obviously so many things have changed, and what do you see the most notable things that you think that have not only changed but will become sort of sustained or a permanent part of how we shop?
So the purpose of all retailers has always been to meet the customer where they are. So the pickup and delivery infusion that we really saw during the pandemic, with pickup in April alone being up 208%, and then delivery trailing a bit behind with around 30% of an increase, those are here to stay simply because it's more convenient. Also, retailers are really taking the move to text their customers, and people are loving it. 80% of consumers really love receiving a text message from where they shop. Also, smaller footprints. You'll see Lululemon, Nike, and Nordstrom Local rolling out small footprint stores, less than 1,000 square feet, where you can shop in that omnichannel way, pick up, delivery, have a guest experience coordinator. And then also the personnel are no longer going to be just retail personnel. They're also going to be handling all of the online customer service. So you're going to see a consolidation of roles within retailers so that they can multitask their employees.
So Erin, is there a chance then that, some of the bigger percentage gainers today are Bed Bath & Beyond is in the top 10, Macy's is in the top 10, Kohl's, and these names every now and then pop up. But is there a chance that can they move quick enough to make these things work in their advantage? Because as an investor, I'm wondering, these stocks are down a lot. If they can survive and rebuild their business, they look pretty attractive or could look attractive.
I think it's really hard for a big organization like Macy's to play catch up right now. They just laid off 4,000 more employees. They had the opportunity to really roll out the story concept as a full-on shop within a shop type model, but they waited on it. Same thing with Bed Bath Beyond, they've really been taking this transition too slowly. So those retailers who stepped up to the plate to begin with have a huge head start. You have Target who acquired Deliv and Shipt, which are going to help them compete with Walmart and Amazon in terms of same-day delivery and logistics.
Right.
So I think that those retailers who are maybe making big movements today, it's not super sustainable. I'd go more with core competencies and who has taken the opportunity of the pandemic and pre-pandemic to really prepare for a new way to shop.
And before I let you go, the consumer, the spending number was obviously a record, but some people actually saw it as a yellow, perhaps even red flag, that more wasn't spent. And many are wondering what's holding back the consumer. One of my theories is that we should start hearing from D.C. that they're going to certainly do another stimulus plan. I think at this point, a lot of folks are going to sit on the money that they have. Our savings rate is 23%, unless they think there's going to be another check coming, at least one more.
Well, I think we have to remember consumers are human beings. And as a society, I think we're very confused right now with a lot of inconsistent messaging. So if we get another stimulus, of course, that will help. But I think that we also need to, state by state, get on the same page and also stop politicizing the pandemic.
All right. Erin, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And speaking of the pandemic, folks, Secretary Azar says that the window is closing to halt the coronavirus spread in the United States, while Vice President Mike Pence is urging people to wear a mask. So why are masks still so controversial? Liz Peek will give us her insight. She's next.
Wear a mask wherever it's indicated, or wherever you're not able to practice the kind of social distancing that would prevent the spread of the coronavirus.